Welcome back, Derby Community Church. We are on chapter 9 of the 1689 London Baptist Confession, and chapter 9 is titled Of Free Will. Now, what a loaded term this is. One of the big debates that's raged through the ages is, do we have free will? And the London Baptist Confession would probably answer by saying, well, it depends on what you mean by free will. So let's dig into it. Paragraph 1, and this is a little shorter than the last one, but paragraph 1 says, God has endued the will of man with that natural liberty and power of acting upon choice. So one of the unique features God has given humanity is the ability to make decisions. And if someone is not really choosing something, you can't really call it a choice, can you? So it says that it is neither forced nor by any necessity of nature determined to do good or evil. So people have thoughts, people have feelings, people come up with conclusions, and they make choices based on those things. Those are real choices. They're not simply illusions. Paragraph 2 says, man in his state of innocency had freedom and power to will and to do that which was good and well pleasing to God, but yet was unstable so that he might fall from it. So it's saying that man before corruption could really and truly choose to do what was right or to do what was evil. He was capable of either. Now, the mistake we often make is that we assume that we are in the same position as man before the fall, that we're neutral creatures and it could go either way. This was, we mentioned earlier, an old heresy called Pelagianism, which says that man did not, his nature was not corrupted by the fall. We are actually right in the middle, just like Adam was, and could go good, could go evil just as easily one way or the other. So if that's what you mean by free will, if by free will it means we could do good just as easily as we could do evil, then the London Baptist Confession is going to push back a little bit. So paragraph 3 then says, man, by his fall into a state of sin, has wholly lost all ability of will to any spiritual good accompanying salvation. This means that because of the corruption of our nature, we cannot choose the good as easily as we would have before the fall. So when you think about someone's will, what impacts someone's will? A will is a desire. It's their ability to choose what they want. Great. So mankind is totally free to choose what he wants. The problem is, what do we want? On this side of the fall, we want sin. Our nature is corrupted. We desire evil. And so when we use that freedom of choice, we choose the wrong thing. Now, that doesn't mean that we've lost all capability to do any good. And so the confession clarifies we've lost all ability of will to any spiritual good accompanying salvation. That is, God had given Adam the choice to do what was right and therefore secure eternal life. We now cannot choose to do the right that will secure for us eternal life. Our ability to will and to choose has been too fundamentally broken. So as a natural man, being altogether averse from that good and dead in sin, is not able by his own strength to convert himself or to prepare himself thereunto. That is, our nature is so corrupted that it's not simply that we can't do the right thing to be saved. It's that on our own, we don't even want to be saved, because to be saved means to submit to God. It means to accept things on God's terms. And so on our own, we don't desire that. So understand, this is saying it's not that free will goes away. It's that free will has been so corrupted that we are actually enslaved to our own will. Now, there are two great books that were written by two guys who probably would have agreed with some of this language. The first was Martin Luther. He wrote a book called The Bondage of the Will. Another guy was Jonathan Edwards, and he wrote a book called The Freedom of the Will. And yet Luther and Edwards were actually making the exact same point. Luther said the will was in bondage, and so we couldn't willingly choose what was right. Edwards said there is freedom of the will. You can choose whatever it is you want to do. The problem is what you want to do is in bondage to sin. So we are free to choose. The problem is, because we're corrupted, we only ever choose evil. And so our will has to be acted upon. Our will has to be altered and changed from within. So paragraph 4 says, when God converts a sinner, and that language is important, We don't convert ourselves. Because of our corruption, God is to reach down and convert us. And when he does so, and he translates him into a state of grace, he frees him from his natural bondage under sin. And by grace alone enables him freely to will and to do that which is spiritually good. So in salvation, Jesus doesn't merely save us from the consequences of our sin, from the penalty of sin. He also saves us from the power of sin. Jesus is restoring our wills so that we once again desire what is good and right. Yet, paragraph 4 says that doesn't happen all the way in this life. And so there is still remaining corruption in us, so that we now still desire sin, but now we also desire to obey God. And this creates a bit of a conflict for us. This is the battle of the spirit and the flesh that the Apostle Paul talked about. And paragraph 5 says, this will of man is made perfectly and immutably free to good alone in the state of glory only. So that power of sin over us is being broken, but we're not totally delivered from it until glory. Only then will our wills be totally free, because only then will we really and truly desire that which is lovely. And I think if I could sum up the progression of this chapter, it was a very famous articulation that the theologian Augustine talked about. And he basically said that when God first created man, he made us able to sin. That is, God didn't make us to sin, but he made us, because of our free will, we had the capability of sinning. So the possibility was there. God made mankind perfect, but the potential to sin was there because man had this thing called a choice. After man fell, man is now unable to not sin. That means our wills and our nature has been corrupted, so that besides Jesus, there never has been and never will be a perfect person. Now, when we've been saved by Jesus, we are able to not sin. So we still can, but we now have the capability by the power of the Spirit to say no to sin. Jesus is freeing our will and to desire and to obey what God has said. But it is only in eternal glory that we are made not able to sin.